Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I want to say Alright. Okay. So let's make a start. We've got this listening test. If we talk about difficulty level of this test, it's moderate to difficult. I mean, not very difficult, but moderate to difficult, but not very difficult. Okay. We've got 4 parts, and we will solve every question. And if I am clear about every question, then I can teach you well. So I am crystal clear about all 40 questions. That includes multiple choice, each and everything. So I'll give you some very nice tips and techniques on that. So let's make us start with IELTS listening part 1. Complete the notes below. Notes are incomplete sentences which you have to complete, and they have bullet points. Complete the notes below. Write one word and or a number. By the way, in IELTS listening part 1, one word and or a number is very standard one. I mean, most of the time, 90% you will get one word and or a number in part 1 and one word only in part 4. This is standard. But if there is other question type, it means this test is not standard one. Sometimes they do that as well. Multiple choice in part 1. Multiple choice in part 4. So this happens, right? If you don't pay sadaqah, then this will happen to you. Okay? Yeah. And this sadaqah is in the form of money, not the other one. Main sadke jawa. Yeah. Not this one. Okay? Now, job details from employment agency. Imagine there is an employment agency. Job details. What does it mean? One person wants a job and one person will offer the job. So they are going to communicate, right? Then they've written role. Now, this is not cream roll, spring roll, chicken roll, vegetable roll. This is not that role. The context of the conversation is job details. So, role means position. You know position? Teacher, job for a professor, job for a waiter, job for manager, and all that. So, underline role and write there position. Okay? So what is the position of the job? Or you may call it job title. We also call it job title. Now I'll play the audio. Please listen and answer.
Part 1. You will hear a man who works at an employment agency phoning a woman who is looking for a job.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Is that Julie Davison?
Yes.
This is Greg Preston from the employment agency. We met last week when you came in to inquire about office work.
Oh, that's right.
Now, we've just had some details come in of a job which might interest you.
Okay.
So this is a position for a receptionist. I believe you've done that sort of work before?
Yes, I have.
This is the position for receptionist with correct spelling. If your spelling is wrong, receptionist. Reception and receptionist. RECEPTIONIST. Receptionist will be the right answer. And if there is minor mistake in the spelling, means you've written wrong or you missed any letter, your answer is wrong. Okay? Next, location. Now, what's the location for the job? Fordham-Center. It's going to be the name of the center. For example, Fordham Education Center, Fordham Music Center. There is a job of receptionist at Fordham Music Center. Okay, now how can they speak about it? You know, there are 2 languages which you need to understand. Very simple, what you see on the question booklet, practice means you should know in the audio what can they do with that. For example, I read the word role and I told you in the audio they may use the word position, and that happened. And you should know that through practice. If you're going to actually focus all these things, then you will know. Now, Fordham, if they say, well, the location for the job is Fordham, there is a music center there. What is the answer? Music. Instead of saying Fordham Music Center, they will say the job is in Fordham and there is an education center there. Answer is education. Got it? I'll play the audio.
Well, this job's in Fordham, so not too far away for you. And it's at the medical center there.
Okay.
It's at the Medical center there. Understand? Fold them and answer is medical. And you will not write center. Okay, one word only means one word and or a number. Next, question number 3. Dash road. What will be the answer? Name of the road. And if the name is unusual, they will spell it. If the name is usual, normal name, then they will not spell it. Okay, so let's see.
So where exactly is that?
It's quite near the station on Chaston's Road.
Sorry?
Chaston's Road. That's Chastons.
Okay, thanks.
Chastons. Chastons. That's it. Now, for example, you write Cheston instead of Chastons. Will your answer be right or wrong? Wrong here. It's not singular plural. It's a proper word. Chastons. Right? So be careful with that. And they spelled it for you. So you should not make any mistake. Now, the next thing is work involves. Work involves means responsibilities, or what do we call it? Job responsibilities. The first one is dealing with inquiries. Means people will come for information and you have to give them information. That is what we call dealing with inquiries. Next, making dash and reorganizing them. Now, for example, making decisions. And one thing we call it collocation. Collocation means all the possible words which can be used with make. Make a decision, make bed, make this, make that. So if you know collocations, even you can guess your answers as well, right? You need to make something which can be reorganized, right? Now underline the word reorganizing. For reorganizing, they may use the word rescheduling or rescheduling. So what is it that you need to first make and then you will reschedule them as well, okay? Them means answer will be singular or plural? Plural answer, right? Them. Otherwise, it. Reorganizing it means singular answer. Reorganizing them, that means plural answer, okay?
So what would the work involve? Dealing with inquiries from patients?
Yes. And you'd also be involved in making appointments, whether face-to-face or on the phone, and rescheduling them if necessary.
Fine, that shouldn't be a problem.
Making appointments and rescheduling them. Now, instead of saying rescheduling, we learn rescheduling. As I say, IELTS listening is the best way to improve your English pronunciation. So, answer is appointments. Now, if you write singular, your answer will be wrong because they have mentioned reorganizing them. So, correct answer is appointments. Next, maintaining the internal. Underline the word internal. Dash. Okay, now maintaining the internal computers. For example, answer is computers. Maintaining the internal computers. For internal, they can use organizations' computers. What does it mean? Computers which are related to organizations, so they are internal computers. Or, as we are talking about this center, you know, full-day medical center. So if they use the word maintaining center's computer, center's computer means internal. For internal, they will not use the word internal, but they will use the word center or organization. Now, what is it that you have to maintain which belong to the center? That will be the answer.
And another of your duties would be keeping the centre's database up to date. Then you might have other general administrative duties as well, but those would be the main ones.
Okay.
So, database, exactly. They said clearly, some of you missed it. And when the answer is missed, you have this stillness. Later on, you say, okay, acha, answer is gone. Listen again.
And another of your duties would be keeping the centre's database.
Keeping the center's database
Up to date.
up to date. Maintaining. What is the word? Keeping up to date. And answer is database. How many words? No, one. You will write database as one word. Database is one word. And when it is one word and or a number, even if you think there can be two words, write them together. Your answer will never be wrong. Database, okay? Let's go on. Next, requirements. Now, what is their requirement? Question number 6. Dash essential. Essential. Underline the word essential. Yeah, important, compulsory. You should have. You must have. Right? You do have something. Do have. So whatever is important. For example, let's say for this type of job, your education is not important. Will that be the answer? No. But if they say for this type of job, it is important to have a graduation, so your education is very vital. Answer will be education. Okay?
Now, when the details came in, I immediately thought of you because one thing they do require is someone with experience.
One thing they do require is someone with, so what will be the answer? Experience. And do require. For do require, they've written the word essential. Do require. Alright, answer is experience. Okay, question number 7. Second requirement. A calm and dash manner. Calm, manner, and with calm there will be another adjective. Calm and quiet, calm and something, manner. And for manner, they may use the word manner, they may use the word behavior, attitude, anything like that. Now, answer will come with calm. Okay? And one thing, underline the word and. There are many replacements of and in IELTS. And, also, not only but also. Now this time they will use the word at the same time. At the same time. What does it mean? For example, we will serve you coffee at the same time cold drinks. Kya ho gaya? Coffee and cold drinks. So focus at the same time, and whatever they say after calm, that will be your answer.
Is there anything else they're looking for?
Well, they say it's quite a high-pressure environment. They're always very busy, and patients are often under stress. So they want someone who can cope with that and stay calm, and at the same time be confident when interacting with the public.
At the same time, be confident. Now what will be the answer? Confident, because it's one word only. At the same time, and then they said the word confident. Okay? Now, let's go on. Good IT skills. Other information, dash job. Dash job means type of job. For example, full-time job, part-time job, full-time, part-time, like that. Seasonal job. You know seasonal jobs, like only during winter season you have a job, in summer you don't have a job. Okay? So, dash job, further opportunities may be available. Means the job is something like that, and then there are further opportunities. For example, it's a seasonal job, and then there may be some more opportunities for you. Now let's see what type of job.
And then another thing they mention is that they're looking for someone with good IT skills.
Not a problem.
So you'd be interested in following this up?
Sure. When would it start?
Well, they're looking for someone from the beginning of next month. But I should tell you that this isn't a permanent job. It's temporary.
This isn't a permanent job, it's temporary. Now you cannot write not permanent. If it could be no more than 3 words, no more than 2 words, then you could write not permanent. But it's one word only, so what is not permanent is temporary. So answer is temporary. Got it? Just listen to this last part.
Next month. But I should tell you that this isn't a permanent job. It's temporary. So the contract would be just to the end of September. But they do say that there could be further opportunities.
There could be further opportunities. So answer is temporary. Yeah. Hours, 7:45 a.m. to, very simple. 7:45 a.m. is the morning time when you should join the office. To, it can be 5 p.m. And p.m. is already written. And then Monday to Friday. Okay, just check the format. This time is written 7.45. So when you write your answer, you follow the same pattern. For example, if answer is 5:30, you will write 5.30. Okay, 5.30 or 5.30. So let's see. I mean, for example, if she says, when will I go home? Okay, if they say your job will start at 7:45 a.m. or quarter to 8 a.m. And when will I go home? Well, you'll be free at 5:30 p.m. 5:30 means 5:30. So you will not write 5:30. You will write 5.30. Okay? Yeah, let's see.
And what would the hours be?
Well, they want someone who can start at 7:45 in the morning. Could you manage that?
Yes, my husband would have to get the kids up and off to my mother's. She's going to be looking after them while I'm at work. What time would I finish?
1:15.
That should work out all right.
So what time would I finish? 1:15. 1:15 means 1.15. Yeah, simple. Last, dash is available on site. On site means where you are going to work. Something is available there. Okay, now what is available will be your answer.
Oh, one thing. Is there parking available for staff at the centre?
Yes, there is. And it's also on a bus route.
Right.
Is parking available? Yes, it's also on bus route. Now what is the answer? Parking or bus route? Parking. Listen again and focus this thing. Whatever she says about bus route.
There is. And it's also on a bus route.
Right. Well, I expect I'll have the car, but it's good to know that.
Okay, I'll have the car, but it's good to know that. So answer is parking. Good job, huh? Okay guys, 4 multiple choice questions, and these 4 questions are more than enough to clarify the core concept of multiple choice questions. Okay, I'll elaborate them, and these questions are so funny for me and so confusing for you. Why confusing? They talk about everything in such a manner that first you say, okay, answer is A. Then you say, oh my God, answer is B. And then finally you say answer is C. And later on you are ABC. Okay. So we will see today. This is a good opportunity to check what's the right answer. And in multiple choice, instead of looking for the right answer, you should eliminate the wrong options. As they usually talk about all options, sometimes they discuss 2 options, and even sometimes they discuss only 1 option. Okay. So question number 11. Museum building was originally, look at me, underline the word originally. Okay. For originally, they say it was constructed as a school. It was constructed as a school means originally the building was meant for a school. So when they use it was constructed as a school, later on it was converted into a post office. So what's the original thing? School. Post office, is that the right answer? No. Right? Yeah. So originally it was constructed. So the museum building was originally means what was there originally? Why the building was built or constructed? Option A, factory. Option B, private home. Option C, hall of residence. Hall of residence is like hostel. Like in Punjab University, there are hall 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are the halls of residence where students live. So the building was constructed originally as a what? Main purpose when it was built.
Part 2. You will hear a guide at a farming museum talking to a group of visitors.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Museum of Farming Life. I understand it's your first visit here, so I'd like to give you some background information about the museum and then explain a little about what you can see during your visit. So, where we're standing at the moment is the entrance to a large building that was constructed in 1880 as the home of a local businessman, Alfred Palmer, of the Palmer Biscuit Factory. It was later sold and became a hall of residence for students in 1911 and a museum in 1951.
So,
In 2005, a modern extension was built to accommodate the museum's collections.
all right. What's the correct answer? B? No. A, well done, factory. I heard factory, he said factory. C, no. B is the right answer. Well done, very good. Now, please listen. I will prove why A and C are wrong options.
Part 2. You will hear a guide at a farm.
Welcome to the Museum of Farming Life. I understand it's your first visit here, so I'd like to give you some background information about the museum and then explain a little about what you can see during your visit. So, where we're standing at the moment is the entrance to a large building that was constructed in 1880 as the home of a local businessman.
It was constructed as a home of local businessmen. So what is that? Originally constructed as a home of local businessmen. Now, uncle, factory, listen to this.
Alfred Palmer of the Palmer Biscuit Factory.
Alfred Palmer of the Palmer Biscuit Factory. So that man had a biscuit factory. Building was not built for biscuit factory. Okay, so A is wrong.
It was later sold and became a hall of residence for...
It was later sold and became a hall of residence. So originally it was a private home and the person who owned it, he had a biscuit factory. ठीक हो गया? Now you understand? I mean, they're so clever. If they talk about all these things simply, we can understand easily. Then all of us will go to Canada, Australia, UK and all that. Yeah? They do it deliberately. Now, university uses part of museum building as. Imagine there is a university. Next to the university, there is a museum. University is using some part of the museum as. As means purpose. What's the purpose, right? Option A, teaching rooms. Teaching room means classroom. Like for example, we are having this training session. So, university is using some part of the museum as teaching room. Option B, research library. Research library and administration offices. Now let's see, how do they talk about them?
The museum's owned by the university, and apart from 2 rooms that are our offices, the...
Okay, apart from 2 rooms that are our offices, so university uses part of the museum building as.
University uses the main part of the building. You may see students going into the building for lessons.
You may see students going into the building for lessons. What does that mean? Teaching room. Excellent. Listen again.
Museums owned by the university, and apart from 2 rooms that are our offices, the university uses the main part of the building. You may see students going into the building for lessons, but it's not open to museum visitors, I'm afraid. It's a shame because the interior architectural features are outstanding, especially the room that used to be the library.
Especially the room that used to be the library. Now, do they have a library or does the university use it as a library? No, used to have a library. What does it mean? In the past, there was a library there, but now there is no library. So correct answer is teaching rooms. Question number 13. What does guide say about entrance fee? Underline entrance fee. Whatever the guide is going to say about entrance fee. Option A. Visitors decide whether or not they wish to pay. Now look here, and this will always happen like this. When visitors decide, for example, you go to the concert. There is no ticket. Visitors decide whether or not to pay for that. They have a donation box. And you put some money, 10 rupees. You think it's good, 100 rupees. Someone puts 500. Someone only puts hand like this and all that, okay? Once I attended a concert of Ibrarul Haq in French Culture Center, and there was no ticket. They had a donation box. And they said, okay, whatever you feel fine, you can pay that. I just did that. I was a student that time. There was no money. Okay, so you can do that as well. So whenever they say visitors decide whether or not they wish to pay, it means there will be donation and there will be a donation box. Okay, there is no ticket but donation box. B, only children and students receive a discount. Now look, if children and students receive discount, This is the right answer. They say 5% discount for children and 20% discount for the students. This is the answer. And if they say it is absolutely free for students and children, will this be the answer? You know, when something is free, will you say, give me 50% discount? They say it's free. So it will not be the right answer. C, museum charges extra for special exhibitions. If they charge extra for special exhibitions, C is the answer. And if special exhibitions are also included, they are the same like free, then it's not. Okay, now let's see what's the right one.
Luckily, we've managed to keep entry to the museum free. This includes access to all the galleries, outdoor areas, and the rooms for special exhibitions. We run activities for children and students, such as the museum club, for which there's no charge. We do have a donation box just over there, so feel free to give whatever amount you consider appropriate.
Okay, we do have a donation box. Feel free whatever amount you think is appropriate. A is the right answer. And the audio went back from CBA. C, museum charges extra. They said no, they are free. Option B, only children and students, they are free. So it's A. Okay, question number 14. What are visitors advised to leave in the cloakroom? You know, in every building like hotel, restaurant and all, they have a cloakroom. And by the way, cloakroom is meant for coats. Like people come from outside where it snows, it rains heavily, they have their umbrellas, they have their overcoats and all that. So they remove them and put them in the cloakroom, and then because inside the building there is central heating, so they enjoy. Now, what are visitors advised to leave in the cloakroom? What is it that they should leave? I told you cloakrooms are for coats and bags, but in the audio, they will advise, for example, cameras. If they say, well, we don't allow cameras in the museum, so it's a good idea to leave your cameras in the cloakroom. Then answer is A, okay? So whatever you can bring, that will not be your answer. Whatever you have to leave, that will be your answer.
We do have a cloakroom if you'd like to leave your coats and bags somewhere. Unlike other museums, photography is allowed here, so you might like to keep your cameras with you. You might be more comfortable not carrying around heavy rucksacks, though keep your coats and jackets on as it's quite cold in the museum garden today.
Rucksack. Now what is rucksack? It's a type of a bag. Rucksack. Okay? So she said, don't remove your coats. It's quite cold in the museum garden. So what will you leave there? Bags. And for bags, what is the word? Rucksack. Please listen again.
We do have a cloakroom if you'd like to leave your coats and bags somewhere. Unlike other museums, photography is allowed here.
When photography is allowed, you are not supposed to leave your camera. Now please come to bags.
So you might like to keep your cameras with you. You might be more comfortable not carrying around heavy rucksacks.
Not carrying
Though
around
keep your
heavy rucksack. Rucksack is bag, right?
And jackets on as it's quite cold in the museum garden today.
Okay, it's quite cold in the museum garden, so coats and jackets should be there, okay? All right. Now, we move on. We've got matching type of questions. Another important type, and we will learn how to crack them. First of all, let's read questions 15 to 20. What information does speaker give? Underline information. Then underline speaker give about each of the following areas of the museum. Underline areas of museum. So you will match information with areas of museum. Okay? Now, if you take a look at questions 15 to 20, do you find any information? These are just the names of areas of museum. So will you read questions when they give you 30 seconds? No, you will read information. Well done. Okay, now, as I said before, the language of question booklet and the language of the audio, both languages are entirely different in wording, but 100% same in meaning. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how are they going to interpret these words. Option A, parents must supervise their children, right? If they say children should stay with their parents, or parents should keep an eye on their children, or don't leave your children unattended. What does it mean? Parents must supervise their children. So in one of the areas, they will say this area is very sensitive, so please don't leave the hand of your small children. What does that mean? Parents supervise their children. Option B, there are new things to see. Now, new things, they will not use the word new things. They will talk about those new things. For example, if they say, very recently we have added a new painting there. Right? Very recently we've added a new painting there. Or if they say, well, we've got some animals there, and there is a baby elephant which was just born yesterday. Answer will be that baby elephant. Now, what is baby elephant? New thing. Okay, so new. Don't expect the word new thing. Expect that thing which will be new. Next, it is closed today. It is closed today means you cannot go there. Now, they will not use the word closed. They may use the word it is not open, or you cannot go there, or I'm afraid today you cannot visit that. It is closed for renovation or anything like that. Option D, this is only for school groups. Only for school groups. Now listen, underline the word only. And they will talk about school groups. But they will say sometimes school groups come there as well. Does that mean only for school groups? No. Only and sometimes they are opposite words. So if they say it's only for school groups, and in the audio they say it's just made for school groups and they are only allowed to enter, then this is the answer. But if they say it is for anybody, sometimes school groups also come there. So then it's not only, right? Next, there is a quiz for visitors. Underline the word quiz. And the other word for quiz is memory test. For example, you go to the museum, you visit all parts of the museum, they give you briefing, at the end they give you a memory test or a test, or they give you a questionnaire. A questionnaire that is also called quiz, where you have to answer questions. So wherever they talk about test, memory test, questionnaire, this option will go there blindly. Next, option F, it features something created by students. Now, created by students. For that, they may use the word designed by the students who attended this course, or designed by fashion design students. Designed by, created by, and designed by. Option G, expert is here today. Now, they will not use the word expert. They will use the word specialist. Right? A specialist is here and you can meet him. He's just here for today. Right? So, for expert, the word is specialist. Option H, there is a one-way system. What is one-way system? For example, this is one gallery of the museum. You enter, you look around, and then you go to other one. Now, when you go to other one, you cannot come back here. It's one way, right? It's all one way, you cannot go back, okay? So, let's see now. Question number 15, 4 seasons. Now, don't think 4 seasons is like 4 seasons. What is it? It is an area of museum. So take it as a title. Don't look for meaning. Don't even think about meaning. It is an area, 4 seasons. Question number 15, please.
I'd like to tell you about the different areas of the museum. Just inside and outside the main gallery, we have an area called 4 Seasons. Here, you can watch a 4-minute animation of a woodland scene. It was designed especially for the museum by a group of young people on a film studies course, and it's beautiful. Children absolutely...
It was designed by students on a film study course. F. Well done. Listen to this part again.
An area called 4 Seasons. Here, you can watch a 4-minute animation of a woodland scene. It was designed especially for the museum by a group of young people on a film studies course, and it's beautiful. Children absolutely love it, but then so do adults.
Children love it. Now, it doesn't mean option A because they didn't talk about parents and supervise. Okay? So, children love it, so do adults. Means everyone loves it. So, question number 15, answer is F. 16, farmhouse kitchen.
The main gallery is called Town and Country. It includes a photographic collection of prize-winning sheep and shepherds. Leaving Town and Country, you enter Farmhouse Kitchen, which is, well, self-explanatory. Here, we have the oldest collection of equipment for making butter and cheese in the country. And this morning, a specialist cheesemaker will be giving demonstrations of how it's produced. You may even get to try some.
Good. And the word for today is this morning. This morning, there is a specialist. So, there is a specialist cheesemaker. So, expert is here today. G will be the right answer. Got it? Okay, let's go on. Question number 17, a year on farm.
After that, you can go in two directions. To the right is a staircase that takes you up to a landing from where you can look down on the galleries. To the left is a room called A Year on the Farm. There is lots of seating here, as sometimes we use the room for school visits, so it's a good place to stop for a rest. If you're feeling competitive, you can take our memory test, in which you answer questions about things you've seen in the museum.
Okay. Memory test in which you see, and you know, they talked about this school groups and they said sometimes. Sometimes doesn't mean only. And those who are Bhole Badshah, they will say school groups, D. I very like Fike, okay? Yeah. Alright, so correct answer is E. That is related to quiz. Just please focus a little.
There is lots of seating here, as sometimes we use the room for school visits.
Sometimes we use. For school visits doesn't mean only for school visits.
So it's a good place to stop for a rest. If you're feeling competitive, you can take our memory test.
Okay, if you're feeling competitive, you can take our memory test. Memory test is quiz. Question number 18, wagon walk.
The next area is called Wagon Walk. This contains farm carts from nearly every part of the country. It's surprising how much regional variation there was. Beside the carts are display boards with information about each one. The carts are old and fragile, so we ask you to keep your children close to you and ensure they don't climb on the carts.
Okay, we ask you to keep your children close to you so that they don't climb on the carts. Keep your children close means parents must supervise their children. Okay. And you know, you're learning new things. Keep your children close to you means बच्चों को साथ साथ रखें. Something like that. Again, I tell you, the language you learn from IELTS listening, if you use the same language in IELTS speaking, you can get 9 band. Practice, focus, pick up the sentences, catch the phrases from there and use them in your speaking. Next, bees are magic. So, let's see what do they say about bees are magic.
From Wagon Walk, you can either make your way back to reception or go out into the garden, or even go back to take another look in the galleries. In the far corner of the garden is Bees Are Magic, but we're redeveloping this area, so you can't visit that at the moment.
We are redeveloping this area, so you can't visit that at the moment. C. It is closed today. And what is the word for today? At the moment. And what is for closed? You can't visit. You can't visit means it is closed. Last one is pond. The word is pond, not poond.
Finally, there's the pond, which contains all kinds of interesting wildlife. There are baby ducks that are only a few days old, as well as tiny frogs. The pond...
There are baby ducks that are few days old as well as tiny frogs. Option B, new things. What is new thing? Baby ducks and tiny frogs. Exactly. Okay, so this is good to see the baby ducks, but don't say baby is duck. Okay, now we've got double, multiple, choice, questions. Ooh. Okay. All right, double multiple choice questions. Part 3, questions 21 and 22. Choose two letters, A to E. Two letters means double multiple choice. See, I cannot do single. You are talking about double. This is not fair. Okay, so double multiple choice means out of 5 options, you will select 2 correct options and you will identify 3 wrong options as well at the same time. Okay, which 2 educational skills, underline 2 educational skills, were shown in the video of children? Now underline video. Children doing origami. Do you know what origami is? Yeah. If you don't know, don't worry. They will not check your vocabulary like this. If there is something which is unusual, origami is a Japanese word and origami has got a meaning. I play the audio. First get to know what is the meaning of origami.
Part 3. Following instructions from their tutor, you will hear 2 trainee teachers discussing the use of origami, a paper folding activity.
Origami, a paper folding activity. You know, with paper you make boat, you make aeroplane, you make a frog, you make a mouse, you make a telephone. That is called a bird. You make any bird with paper. That is called origami. So 2 students, they are going to talk about origami. Okay. Now, there are 5 options. Option A is solving problems. What will happen? If they talk about an option positively, that is the answer. Right? If they say they didn't have any problem, will A be the answer? If they say in the audio, the students didn't have any problem. So if they didn't have any problem, how can they learn about solving problem? So A will not be the answer. B, following instructions. For example, in origami, you get, okay, first fold the paper like this. Then after that, one more fold like this. Okay, now after this, please wipe your nose. And then put the paper there, for example. So what do you have to do? You have to follow instructions. C, working cooperatively. Now, what is the opposite of working cooperatively? Working separately, working independently. So in the audio, if they say, in the video, all the students were working independently. Will this be the answer? No. But if they say, in the video, all the students were working together, then this will be the answer, okay? Option D, learning through play. Underline the word play. Okay, now listen carefully. If they say, while doing this activity, children were having fun. Play and fun. When they say children were having fun, this is the right answer. And if they say, while doing this thing, they were quite serious, it means they were not having fun. When they were not having fun, it's not play. Option E, developing hand-eye coordination. Hand-eye coordination. You see something and then you work with your hand. You see something and then you make it. That is what we call hand-eye coordination. Now, I play the audio. Let me tell you, all 5 options will be discussed in any order. You cannot expect first they will talk about A, then they will talk about B. No, in any order. So,
Part 3. Following instructions from their tutor, you will hear 2 trainee teachers discussing the use of origami, a paper folding activity, in the classroom.
So now I want you to discuss the lesson we've just been watching on the video and think about the ways in which origami can be a useful educational tool. Can you all work with the person sitting next to you?
I had no idea that such a simple thing like folding squares of paper to make the shape of something like a bird could be such an amazing tool. It's made me see origami in a whole new light.
I know. It was interesting to see the educational skills the children were developing by doing origami. On the video you could see them really listening hard to make sure they did all the steps in the right order to make the bird.
That's right. In this lesson they were working individually, but it would also be interesting to see if the children could work out how to make something simple without being given any direction. That would help with building teamwork as well.
Yes, but much more of a challenge. One thing that really stood out for me was that the children were all having fun while being taught something new.
Which is a key aim of any lesson with this age group. And although these kids had no problems with folding the paper, with younger children you could do origami to help practice fine motor skills.
Absolutely.
Okay, हाँ नहीं समझ आया. आप ना आइल्स की लैंग्वेज चेंज करवा लीजिएगा. उधर आप क्लिक करें ना, लिखा होता है इंग्लिश, उर्दू, पंजाबी. आपने उर्दू पे क्लिक करना है, आपका आइल्स का सारा एग्जाम उर्दू में होगा. Okay, no problem. Now, let's do it again. Please follow me.
Part 3.
First of all, come to option B.
Following instructions from their tutor, you will hear two trainee teachers discussing the use of origami, a paper folding activity, in the classroom.
So now I want you to discuss the lesson we've just been watching on the video and think about the ways in which origami can be a useful educational tool. Can you all work with the person sitting next to you?
I had no idea that such a simple thing like folding squares of paper to make the shape of something like a bird could be such an amazing tool. It's made me see origami in a whole new light.
I know. It was interesting to see the educational skills the children were developing by doing origami. On the video you could see them really listening hard.
On the video, you can see them really listening hard. Really listening hard.
To make sure they did all the steps.
To make sure they did all the steps correctly. What is it? It's option B, following instructions. Really listening hard to make sure that they follow all the steps. So that is following instructions. B is the first right answer. Now come to option C.
In the right order to make the bird.
That's right. In this lesson, they were working individually.
In this lesson, they were working. Means the video they are watching, so they were working individually.
But it would also be interesting to see if the children could...
It would also be interesting. Now, this is his own affirmation. It would also be interesting if they work in a team or anything like that. But in this lesson, they were working individually. So, working cooperatively? No. Now, please come to option D for doctor.
work out how to make something simple without being given any direction. That would help with building teamwork as well.
Yes, but much more of a challenge.
Yes, but much more of the challenge. She said no, that's not right.
One thing that really stood out for me was that the children were all having fun.
One thing that stood out for me that children were all having fun, learning through play. So that is the right answer, D. Now please come to option A and E.
One thing that really stood out for me was that the children were all having fun while being taught something new.
Which is a key aim of any lesson with this age group. And although these kids had no problems with...
Although these kids had no problems. So solving problem, kids had no problems.
Folding the paper, with younger children, you could do origami to help practice fine motor skills.
Absolutely.
Okay, so with younger children, you could use. The question is what they saw in the video. Younger children, you could use and hand-eye coordination. That is what we call motor skills. What do we call it? Motor skills, okay? But again, he said you could do that, okay? So what he saw in the video, that is option B and option D. And on your answer sheet, you will write 21B and 22D. D for doctor, okay? Now, once again, we have matching. This time we are going to match the kid with comments, children and comments. Let's read the question, 23 to 27. Which comment do the students make about each of the following children in the video? So questions 23 to 27, these are children in the video. and they will make a comment about them. So will we read the questions first or the options? Options, comments. Okay, demonstrated independence. Now, for this they can say he worked on his own. He worked without anybody's help, right? When they say he worked on his own, he worked independently, he worked without anybody's assistance, that means demonstrated independence. For example, I'm teaching you something and one of you is doing on his own without me teaching him that, so that is demonstrating independence. Asked for teacher support. Now someone, he didn't know how to do it, so he asked a teacher for help. Okay, and if they use the word rather than asking for teacher support, what does it mean? Rather than asking. For example, if I say rather than drinking coffee, I would love to have tea. So what would I like? Tea. Rather than means you will not do that. So if they say rather than asking for teacher support, he did it on his own. Which option? A, demonstrated independence. Okay, don't go for words, go for ideas. Developed a competitive attitude. Now what is competitive attitude? If they say, well, there was a child, Sid, and he wanted to make the best aeroplane in the class. He wanted to make the best aeroplane means competitive attitude. Or he wanted to make a better aeroplane as compared to others. As compared to others, he wanted to make best, right? So what does it mean? Competitive attitude. Some people have, like you're going on a road, you're going on a bike, suddenly someone comes and you cross him and he comes and he crosses you. He thinks like you are racing him. So that is what we call competitive attitude. Option D, seem to find activity calming. Calming. Now there would be one child who was doing a lot of mess everywhere. Then they gave him the paper and he sat down and he started making something like that. So what does it mean? Seemed to find the activity calming. Option E, seemed pleased with the results. When the child made the butterfly, he was very happy to see the butterfly. So what is it? Seemed pleased with the results. F, seemed confused. Underline confused. And I tell you, this is what they do everywhere. I've read this word confused several times. There is another listening test in from, I don't know, book 11 or 13. They use the word confused, and in the audio they use the same language. So, for confused, what can they use? He was unsure. Unsure means confused. He didn't know what to do. What does it mean? Confused. He didn't know whether to go there or there. For example, if I say, I don't know whether I should go to France or Spain, what does it mean? I am confused. And for confused, they may use the word nervous. Okay? Let's go on. Next, seem to find activity easy. Underline easy. For easy, they use the word not difficult, not challenging, without any effort. If I say, I can drive the car without any effort, what does it mean? Driving the car is easy for me. Now, question number 23, Sid. Let's see what is it that Sid did.
Shall we talk about the individual children we saw on the video? I wrote all their names down and took some notes.
Yes, I did too.
Okay, good. Let's start with Sid.
He was interesting because before they started doing the origami, he was being quite disruptive.
Yes, he really benefited from having to use his hands. It helped him to settle down and start concentrating.
Yes, I noticed that too.
It helped him to settle down. And before doing this activity, he was quite disruptive. Option D, absolutely. He was quite disruptive and this activity helped him settle down. Settle down means calm down. So seem to find the activity calming. Settle down and calm down and disruptive means like he was moving around here and then, come here, sparrow banate hain. And the child sat down, okay? 24, Jack. Let's see what is it that Jack did.
What about Jack? I noticed he seemed to want to work things out for himself.
You could see him trying out different things rather than asking the teacher for help.
Okay. Yes, A, trying out things on his own, and you can see making different things rather than asking the teacher. Rather than asking the teacher means he didn't ask the teacher. So ask for teacher support? No. demonstrated independence. That's A. Just focus this language, this thing.
What about Jack? I noticed he seemed to want to work things out for himself.
He seems to want to work things out for himself, like he wants to do independently, right? It's that. Next is 25. What's this word, this name? Naomi? Okay. Let's see. IELTS listening is the best way to improve your pronunciation.
What did you make of Naomi?
She seemed to be losing interest at one point, but then she decided she wanted her mouse to be the best, and that motivated her to try harder.
Okay, she wanted her mouse to be the best. To be the best means competition. Exactly. That is option C. And 26? Anya? Not Anya. Anya. Yeah, that's right.
Anya was such a star. She listened so carefully and then produced the perfect bird with very little effort.
I think
She produced the perfect bird with only little effort. Little effort, perfect bird, easy. Option G. Got it now? Just listen.
Anya was such a star. She listened so carefully and then produced the perfect bird with very little effort.
I think the teacher could have increased the level of difficulty for her.
Maybe.
Question number 27, Zara.
I think it was the first time Zara had come across origami.
She looked as if she didn't really get what was going on.
She seemed unsure about what she was supposed to do. But
Okay, see that? That's magic. If you know these interpretations, you can answer. She didn't know. She was unsure. That is option F. Seemed confused. Okay? That's great. Okay, 3 multiple choice questions are enough to clear your mind about multiple choice questions. Question number 28, and by the way, topic will be same. Like in listening part 1, there will be same topic, part 2 same topic, and there will be 2 type of questions or 3. And in part 3 also same topic. So question number 28, before starting an origami activity in class, students think it is important for the teacher too. Before starting the activity, what is it which is important? Okay, now let's see option A. Make models that demonstrate different stages. For example, the first model is this. Fold a paper like this. Second model is another fold like this. So I've got first model, second model, third model, and then the final model. At the end, you will get a sparrow or anything like that. So before starting the original origami activity in class, students think it is important. Make models. Underline the word models. And for models, they may use the word examples. Examples of different stages. Underline the word stages. Yeah. So question number 28, before starting an origami activity in class, students think it is important for option A, make models. For make models, examples, and different stages, different levels. Absolutely. For stages, you can use the word levels. Question option B, check children understand the terminology involved. Actually, you know what happens? Whenever you are making anything out of paper, you use certain terminologies. For example, fold the paper, single fold, double fold. These are terminologies. So check children understand the terminology involved. So you need to make sure that they understand. And option C, tell children not to worry if they find the activity difficult. They say, if you find it difficult, don't worry. It's just fun. If you can't make it, no problem. So what is it that teachers should say before starting an origami activity? Now please listen and answer.
I think one reason why the origami activity worked so well in this class was that the teacher was well prepared.
Right. I think it would have taken me ages to prepare examples showing each of the steps involved in making the bird. But that was a really good idea. The children could see what they were aiming for. And much better for them to be able to hold something rather than just looking at pictures.
Those physical examples supported her verbal explanations really well.
Those physical examples supported her verbal action. The teacher had made examples of every step. Every step means different stages or levels. So correct answer is A. Well done. Listen again.
I think one reason why the origami activity worked so well in this class was that the teacher was well prepared.
Right. I think it would have taken me ages to prepare example.
It would have taken ages to prepare examples. Examples means models.
Showing each of the steps.
Showing, demonstrate each of the step, different stages. So correct answer is A.
Steps involved in making the bird, but that was a really good idea. The children could see what they were aiming for, and much better for them to be able to hold something rather than just looking at pictures.
Okay, so it is important for the teacher to make examples and all that. They mainly talked about one option, and that is A. Question number 29. Students agree, underline agree. Some teachers might be unwilling, underline some teachers unwilling, use origami. Now students agree that some teachers might be unwilling to use origami. What's the reason? Why some teachers might be unwilling to use origami? Because, got it? Now for example, if you are a teacher and I say in your class use origami, you say no, I don't want to use it. What's the reason? A. They may not. They means teachers. Teachers may not think that crafts are important. Crafts are important means handicrafts are important. Origami is handicraft. So underline crafts are not important or not crafts important. What does it mean? Crafts are unimportant. So some teachers think crafts are unimportant. So that's why they don't like origami in their class. Next, they may not have necessary skills. They means teachers. Teachers may not have necessary skills. Now what is that necessary skill? Origami. If a teacher doesn't know how to make a paper boat or paper plane or anything like that, how can the teacher teach the other? Now listen, underline the word necessary skills. And there's a very good English word which you should know. If there is a cook and he doesn't know the necessary skills for cooking, we call him a clumsy cook. What do we call him? Clumsy. If you are a cook, you're working in your kitchen and you don't know how to work properly, we call you a clumsy cook. Clumsy waiter. A waiter comes and he throws water on you, or he puts the glasses on the table. What do we call that waiter? A clumsy waiter. Why? Because he does not know the necessary skills. So if someone does not know the necessary skills, we call him clumsy. Okay, let's go on. Option C. They may worry that it will take up too much time. Underline too much time. So some teachers think in 45 minutes class will make one sparrow only. So it needs too much time. So if it is too much time, it's option C. If teachers are clumsy, it's option B. If they think crafts are not important, children don't take interest, then it is A. And they agree. Agree. This is the important point. A lady will say, some teachers do not try these things in their class because they think crafts are not important. And the boy will say, I don't think like that. Crafts are still important. It means they disagree. Where they disagree, that is not your answer. Option B. They may not have necessary skills. Then the boy says, well, some teachers don't know how to do origami. They can't make anything. That's why. The other one says, no, I think every teacher knows about that. It's very basic. They don't agree. So when they agree, that'll be the right answer. Okay, let's see.
Well, it's strange that origami isn't used more widely. Why do you think that is?
Well, teachers may just feel it's not that appealing to children who are used to doing everything on computers, especially boys, even if they're aware of the benefits.
Oh, I don't know. It's no different to any other craft activity. I bet it's because so many teachers are clumsy like me.
That's true. Too much effort required if you're not good with your hands.
B. Too much C. Well done. Who selected that? Good job. Clapping. You? Good job. They said too much effort. They did not use the word time. So correct answer is option B. Okay, option B. Now please listen, I tell you how they agree. ये पता होना चाहिए.
It's strange that origami isn't used more widely. Why do you think that is?
Well, teachers may just feel it's not that appealing to children who are used to doing everything
Teachers think it's not appealing to children. What does it mean? Not think that crafts are important.
on computers, especially boys, even if they're aware of the benefits.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. What does it mean? I don't agree. Yeah, I don't know. For example, you say, let's go to eat barbecue. You say, I don't know. What does it mean? Pata nahi. I don't agree. It means I don't agree. Okay, so I don't know means I don't agree. Now come to option B.
It's no different to any other craft activity. I bet it's because so many teachers are clumsy like me.
That's true.
Kal ban gayi. That's true. So many teachers are clumsy like me. That's true. So, may not have necessary skills. Not have necessary skills means clumsy. Okay. Now, option C.
Too much effort required if you're not good with your hands.
Too much effort required. Too much time? No. Too much effort. That's right. Question number 30. Why do students decide to use origami in their maths teaching practice? Now underline why origami maths teaching practice. You know, in MA education, B.Ed, students, they have to perform teaching practice. They make them a teacher in the class and then they deliver a lecture. They learn how to deliver a lecture. So teaching practice. Why are they going to use origami in their teaching practice for which subject? Mathematics. Option A. Correct a particular misunderstanding. There is a misunderstanding. With the help of origami in mathematics, they will actually correct that misunderstanding. Set a challenge. They will use origami to set a challenge in the class. Okay, this is a beautiful parrot made of paper. Who will make it? Something like that. And C, introduce a new concept. Now we are talking about mathematics. They may talk about algebra. What is algebra? It's a concept. Logarithm. Logarithm is a concept. Okay, and for new they will use another word. So why will they use origami in their teaching practice?
Well, anyway, I think we should try it out in our maths teaching practice with Year 3. I can see using origami is a really engaging way of reinforcing children's knowledge of geometric shapes, like they were doing in the video. But I think it would also work really well for presenting fractions, which is coming up soon.
Good idea. That's something most of the kids in that class might struggle with. Origami would also be good practice for using symmetry, but I think they did that last term.
Okay, well, let's try and get some ideas together.
Okay, symmetry, they did that last term. Good idea. With the right option, she said good idea. Which option? C? Come on. All right. Okay, there is no thief. So correct answer is C. Absolutely. Now let's see why.
Well, anyway, I think we should try it out in our maths teaching practice with Year 3. I can see using origami is a really engaging way of reinforcing children's knowledge of geometric shapes, like they were doing in the video. But I think it would also work really well for presenting fractions.
Okay, for presenting fraction. That's a concept
Which is coming up soon.
which is coming up soon. So coming up soon means new, and fraction is the concept. And for introduce, they use the word presenting. Okay, C will be the right answer. Okay, now we've got IELTS listening part 4, and part 1 and part 4, they are somewhat similar. In part 1 you get one word and or a number, and in part 4 you get one word only if the test is standard test. So over here, we've got complete the notes below. Notes completion, write one word only. Just single word will be your answer. Victor Hugo. Does anyone know about Victor Hugo? Yeah. All right. Even if you don't know, don't worry. They will tell you. Victor Hugo was a writer. He was a French writer. And he was there in 1862. You know how do I know about it? From this, okay? Yes. Otherwise, I didn't know about him. Victor Hugo. So how do they introduce? Listen.
Part 4. You will hear a literature student giving a talk about Victor Hugo, a famous 19th century French writer.
A famous 19th century French writer. So a literature student is giving a lecture on Victor Hugo, and Victor Hugo is 19th century famous writer, French writer. Okay. Now, can you see the word novel, his novel? So first question, 31 is about his novel. Can you see the word cinema? Okay, in part 4, it's very common that you are left behind the audio. Audio proceeds and you are just waiting for the answer. And in the conquest of looking for the answer, the audio goes ahead and you are still there. So when the audio goes ahead, it becomes difficult to catch the audio. In part 4 especially, you need to underline or encircle some words from the notes where there is no question. For example, it has been adapted for theater and cinema. There is no question. Underline the word cinema. When they talk about cinema or movie, it means audio is here. Next, question number 31. We know more about its. What do they mean by it? Novel. And you should know about it. You know the subject is his novel. So, we know more about his novels overall dash. Now, let's play magic. Underline the word overall. Now, what's the synonym of overall? Overall. General. For example, answer is overall theme. It can be general theme or overall theme. Then about its author. So what does that student say? We know more about general something of the novel and then the writer. It means we don't know much about the writer, but we know something which is related to the novel. It can be theme of novel. We know more about the theme of the novel than the writer. Okay, so let's see what do we know more about and focus the word overall or general.
Part 4. You will hear a literature student giving a talk about Victor Hugo, a famous 19th century French writer.
The person I've chosen to talk about is the French writer Victor Hugo. Many people have heard of him because his novel, Les Miserables, which he wrote in 1862, is famous around the world. It became a stage musical in the 1980s, and a film version was also released in 2012. So some of us, I'm sure, have a pretty general idea of the plot, but we know much less about the author.
General idea of the plot, but we know much less about the author. What will be the answer? Plot. Absolutely. Focus this last part only.
In the 1980s, and a film version was also released in 2012.
Okay, that film version is related to cinema. Now we come to this.
So some of us, I'm sure, have a pretty general idea of the plot.
Some of us have the pretty general idea of the plot, means overall plot.
But we know much less about the author.
But we know much less about the author means we know more about the plot than the author. So answer is plot, and this plot means the theme of something, right? Let's go on. His early career. First they talk about Paris and then underline the word romantic movement. When they talk about romantic movement, it means audio is there. Next, he spoke publicly about social issues, and then they've given such as. Such as means two social issues. One social issue is given. What is that? Education. Now, second social issue, they will tell us in the audio. Now, listen carefully. Along with education, there will be another social issue. And for such as, they may use the word like, for example, for instance, and all that.
Today, I'm going to provide a little more insight into this talented man, and I'm going to talk particularly about the home he had on the island of Guernsey in the British Channel Islands. But first, his early career. As I've said, he was a writer. He was at the height of his career in Paris, and he was very highly regarded by his colleagues. As far as literature was concerned, he was the leading figure of the Romantic movement. However, as well as being a literary genius, he also gave many speeches about issues like the level of poverty in his society. He felt very strongly about this and about other areas where change was needed, like education.
Yes, first they talk about poverty, they elaborated a little, and then the other area was education, poverty, Poverty, poverty. Okay, after this, they will talk about his exile from France. Exile means to ask someone to leave the country. Exile. Victor Hugo had to live elsewhere in dash. Now listen, had to live elsewhere in. Answer is going to be a location. It can be a country, it can be a city, it can be a continent. Country, city, or continent. Now let's see how to understand that. Underline the word live. What is the other word for live? Okay, write the word reside. Reside. I live in Lahore, I reside in Lahore. What was that message you sent to your fiancé? He once sent a message to his fiancé, I reside in your heart. And then answer came back, there is no space there. So reside means live. Now underline the word elsewhere. Elsewhere. And write there other parts. Other parts. Now elsewhere and other parts, they are synonyms. So answer will come reside elsewhere in dash. Okay? Let's see.
This kind of outspoken criticism was not well liked by the rulers of France, and eventually the Emperor, Napoleon III, told Victor Hugo to leave Paris and not return. In other words, he sent him into exile. So, Victor Hugo was forced to reside in other parts of Europe.
He was forced to reside in other parts of Europe. Very good. Europe. Europe. Simple. Question number 34. He used his income from the sale of some. Now listen. There is a writer, there is an author, he used his income from the sale of. What is it that he sold? Dash, some dash, he had written. It means he wrote something, from that he earned money. It can be he used his income from the sale of some novels. He sold novels and then he used the money he had written to buy a house on Guernsey. So he bought a house in Guernsey. He used money from where? What was the source of income? He sold something. So whatever he sold, that will be your answer. Okay? And that is a part of writing. It can be novel, it can be any article, it can be any story or something like that.
Guernsey was actually his third place of exile, and he landed there in 1855. He produced a lot while on Guernsey, including Les Miserables, and to do this, he had to spend a great deal of time in the home that he had there. This was a property that he bought using the money he'd made in France from the publication of a collection of his poetry. It was the only property he ever owned, and
Poetry, absolutely. Money he got from the publication of poetry.
there. This was a property that he bought using the money he'd made in France
Money he'd made in France
from the publication of a collection of his poetry.
from the publication of a collection of his poetry. Collection of his poetry means some poetry. Okay, let's go on. His house on Guernsey. Victor Hugo lived, and then underline the word empire in France. Next, the ground floor. Now they're talking about house, his house. The ground floor contains portraits, comma, and tapestries. Okay, now listen carefully. Portraits. This time underline comma. And I tell you what do they do with comma. Sometimes they don't use any comma, they take a pause and tell you the next word. Otherwise, for comma, they use the word along with. For example, portraits along with sculptures. Portraits along with sculptures. What does it mean? Answer is sculptures. Portraits along with sculptures. Okay? So let's see what do they say after portraits. Now answer is the third item, which will come with portraits and tapestries. Portraits and tapestries, the third item.
The property Victor Hugo bought on Guernsey was a large 5-storey house in the capital town of St. Peter Port, and he lived there for 15 years, returning to France in 1870 when Napoleon's empire collapsed. He decorated and furnished each level or floor of the house in unique and wonderful ways, and many people consider the inside of the house to be a work of art. Today, it's a museum that attracts 200,000 visitors a year. He lived in the house with his family, and portraits of its members still hang in rooms on the ground floor, along with drawings that he did during his travels that he felt were important to him. In other ground floor rooms, there are huge tapestries.
Okay, so answer is drawings, portraits along with drawings. So if you don't understand whatever they said before portraits, doesn't matter. Portraits along with drawings and tapestries. Okay, let's go on. He bought cheap. Underline the word cheap. And I'm telling you, part 4 is like this. It's not that this one is easy, that one is difficult. Part 4 is mostly like this. Underline the word cheap. Now, what are the synonyms of cheap? Inexpensive, not expensive, affordable, or anything like that. Inexpensive means cheap. Okay, he bought cheap dash made of wood. Underline made of wood. And write there wooden. And I have seen this thing on several occasions in Cambridge IELTS books. Out of wood, wooden something. Made out of plastic. For example, plastic table. Table made out of plastic. Wooden table. Table made out of wood. So he bought some inexpensive thing which was made out of wood. Means wooden. So what is it that he bought? Let's see.
The walls are covered in dark wood paneling that Victor Hugo created himself using wooden furniture that he bought in the market.
Using wooden furniture that he bought in the market. Now let's see what's the word for cheap.
Items were relatively inexpensive.
Relatively inexpensive. So answer is furniture. Good. Some of you missed.
The walls are covered in dark wood paneling that Victor Hugo created himself using wooden furniture that he bought in the market. The items were relatively inexpensive.
The items were relatively inexpensive. So answer is furniture. Question number 37. First floor consists of furnished areas with wallpaper. Now underline the word wallpaper. Answer will come with wallpaper. Wallpaper and dash that have a Chinese design. Now Chinese design, wallpaper and something. It can be wallpaper and curtains. Okay, so answer will come with wallpaper and it is of Chinese design.
They gave an atmosphere on the lower level that was shadowy and rather solemn. On the next level of the house, there are 2 impressive lounges where he entertained his guests. One lounge has entirely red furnishings, such as sofas and wall coverings, and the other blue. There's a strong
Well done. Very good. Answer has not come yet. मैंने क्या बोला था? Wallpaper. Focus wallpaper. Okay? No, wall covering is not that way. Okay, let's see. I'll play it from there where you got confused. Okay.
Is where he entertained his guests.
And you know, you need to focus that Chinese design. Chinese design hasn't come yet, okay? Sometimes the audio goes on and on and on, then you have a feeling, why am I not writing any answer? Right? So relax, calm down. Focus Chinese design. Chinese design wallpaper and Chinese design something else, okay?
One lounge has entirely red furnishings, such as sofas and wall coverings, and the other blue. There's a strong Chinese influence in these areas in things like the wallpaper pattern and the lamps.
Got it? Yeah, influence of Chinese design in the wallpaper patterns. Wallpaper pattern mean design of wallpaper and lamps. So answer is lamps. Let's go on. Then they will talk about library. Okay, underline library and favorite books. And then they will talk about question number 38. He wrote in a room at the top of the house. Imagine there is a room at the top of the house and he wrote in that room. That had a view of the, underline view of the. It means something could be seen from that room on top of the house, okay? Not his neighbors. What do people do? They look at their neighbors from the top room, okay? What are they doing? Anyways, now underline the word a view of. And I have seen this thing in many other tests also, I'm telling you. Right there, looks out. For example, if answer is view of the mountains, answer is mountains. In the audio, they will say the room looks out at the mountains. Looks out at the mountains means the window looks out at the mountains means when you open the window, you can see mountains outside. Okay? So view of and looks out. Let's see.
His library, where he left many of his favourite books, forms the hallway to the 3rd floor and was a comfortable area where he could relax and enjoy his afternoons. And then, at the very top of the house, there's a room called the Lookout. Called that because it looks out over the harbour. In contrast to the
over the harbour. Looks out over the harbour. Answer is harbour. Harbour is the bank of the sea where the ships can be landed and all that. Okay, harbour. H-A-R-B-O-U-R is British spelling and H-A-R-B-O-R is American. Right? Now let's go on. Question number 39. He entertained other writers in his house. He entertained them. Like whenever the other writers came, he said, cha pyama, roti khwama, something like that, okay? So he entertained other writers as well as, now the second category. One category is writers. Second category is poor dash in his house. Poor what? Underline the word poor. And for poor, they may use the word underprivileged. Poor teachers, poor servants, poor something. So just focus the word. One thing is writers and second poor and then another category of people. That will be the answer.
So, Victor Hugo was a man of many talents, but he was also true to his values. While living in his house on Guernsey, he entertained many other famous writers, but he also invited a large group of local children from the deprived areas of the island to dinner once a week.
Children from the deprived areas of the island once a week for dinner. So children from deprived area means poor children. Got it? Good job. Let's go on. Victor Hugo's dash gave ownership of the house to the city of Paris. Like it was their house. And then they said, okay, now you're turning it into a museum, so take it from us. Who gave the ownership of the house? See the word Victor Hugo's dash. For example, Victor Hugo's wife, Victor Hugo's son, Victor Hugo's daughter, or it can be Victor Hugo's friend, right? Or Victor Hugo's, somebody who owned the house after him. And then he gave this house in the custody of Paris. What does it mean? He gave the house to the government. That now you can turn it into a museum. So the person who gave the ownership of the house will be your answer. Let's see.
In 1927, the house was owned by his relatives, and they decided to donate it to the city of Paris.
Relatives, owned by his relatives, and they decided to donate it. They means relatives. They decided to donate it to the Paris and all that. So gave ownership, and for that they use the word donate, right? Okay, thank you.